To you, I'm Lisa Lord with the CBC News Break. Barbados has been told that a recent decree by Venezuela not only affects Guyana alone, but has drawn in other neighboring states. Guyana's President David Granger has described the decree, claiming that large parts of Guyana, and especially the mineral-rich Essequibo region, as an act of aggression. President Granger called on regional leaders to affirm their solidarity with Guyana to repudiate this decree. He made the comments at the opening of the 36 Heads of Government meeting at the Hilton Hotel, saying that as the nation prepares to celebrate 50 years of political independence, it is still carrying this monkey on its back.
This decree has dire implications for the entire region, but most particularly the eastern tier of states, Barbados, Grenada, Guyana, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. We consider the decree by Venezuela as an act of aggression against Guyana's sovereignty. It is an assault on our right to access and to develop our maritime resources. We ask this conference to affirm its solidarity with Guyana and to repudiate this obnoxious decree.
Mr. Granger has called on Caracas to abide by an 1899 arbitral ruling on the matter, which awarded most of the disputed territory to Guyana. And he says any state that seeks to repudiate this agreement in international law should be strongly condemned, and he's urged CARICOM to give its full backing to Georgetown.
Guyana calls on the Caribbean to condemn in the strongest terms any state that seeks to undermine these sacred principles. CARICOM is a rich storehouse of shared experiences in our struggle for independence and integration. Without the cooperation of our CARICOM member states, we risk being miniaturized and marginalized, and our efforts to improve our economies could be trivialized. We might be a community of small states, but we deserve and demand to be treated as equals among the nations of the world.
UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is hopeful that the forced expulsion of thousands of citizens of the Dominican Republic of Haitian descent will soon be amicably settled. He says he is very concerned about that matter. The issue has drawn angry responses from around the world, and especially in CARICOM, where Haiti is a part of the 15-member grouping.
I have discussed this with President of the Dominican Republic and trust there will be further progress in resolving this matter. Protecting the rights of affected persons and preventing the deprivation of nationality. This is a matter of human rights and human dignity.
Well, newly elected leader of St. Kitts Nevis, Dr. Timothy Harris, has called for a deepening of the regional integration process and unity and solidarity among member states. He's also called on the Dominican Republic to stop the forced expulsion of citizens of Haitian descent. Dr. Harris says petitions share the anguish of the people of the Dominican Republic that are of Haitian descent, noting that it is a humanitarian and human rights crisis afflicting the region.
I therefore call on the Dominican Republic authorities to cease and desist with any plan that would lead to the expulsion of Dominicans of Haitian descent and render them stateless. Consideration should also be given to extend the deadline for the registration of undocumented immigrants to allow time for the appropriate solution to be devised in keeping with international principles and best practices.
The Commonwealth Secretariat is moving ahead with plans to set up a center of excellence for small states. This was disclosed by the outgoing Commonwealth Secretary General Kamala Sharma during talks with Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Maxine McLean. Now, the center, which will be based in Malta, will be a replica of one already operating in Geneva and will address several issues from the perspective of small states. Secretary General Sharma also indicated that his office planned to work on a number of other areas that would significantly benefit Commonwealth states. Minister McLean outlined the challenges which are currently facing Barbados. Well, fisheries production in the Caribbean is at an all-time high and the local population of sharks is in the greatest danger. This from official of the Food and Agriculture Organization, Nicola Simpson. Her comments came during a workshop in collaboration with the Fisheries Division on shark awareness among members of the local industry. Ms. Simpson is proposing a National Plan of Action, or the NPOA, for the conservation and management of sharks, and it's a plan undertaken by other nations. She highlighted that the lack of education among fisherfolk as a major setback and hopes to change this in the near future.
What I'm hoping to do in the next few months with my project with the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations is do an assessment. So I'm going to be handing out some surveys to fishers, getting an idea of what species they're catching, and I also plan to probably in the next 2 months drop some cameras underwater and leave them there for a while and see what types of sharks are passing by to get an idea of how many they are, because there's really no idea of how many there are in Barbados.
Ms. Simpson went on to address recent concerns about a circulating video of sharks allegedly on a popular Barbadian beach. She believes the video is false, noting that although the local shark population is much higher than persons know, danger to sea bathers is minimal.
I have seen the video and there's no proof that it's Barbados, because if you look in the backdrop, it's just sea. It's very highly unlikely that it is Barbados, because we do not often see sharks in so close, so it's more likely to be somewhere in Florida. However, as I said, fishers and divers do see sharks relatively close in, but if, as I said before, if you're just going for a swim, your normal Sunday swim, you're not going to see a shark right there.
Police have arrested and charged a 49-year-old man in connection with the shooting of Anthony Prescott on Wednesday at Ruby Tenantry in St. Philip. Douglas Fitzgerald Acosta Hurdle of Work Hall, also in St. Philip, is to appear in court to face the charges of wounding with intent and use of a firearm. Prescott was shot twice in the chest and left leg. He is recovering after undergoing surgery at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Captain of the visiting British HMS Sovereign warship Steve Banfield says the Caribbean region has a good security system. He also says the communication among the countries to hunt drug runners and illegal fishermen is quite impressive.
I've been really impressed since I've been out here of how much interaction there is between all the islands in terms of sharing of intelligence, with the regional security system as well. Just the way that for example, the counter-narcotic smugglers or the narcotic smugglers who come through, how they're handed off from island to island, and all of the islands seem to talk to each other and go, and they have a shared intelligence picture.
Mr. Banfield was speaking to the media during a tour of that ship. The captain and his crew of 35 have spent 234 days in the Caribbean conducting counter-narcotics missions and disaster reconnaissance. About 600 Coast Guard members in the Caribbean have benefited from training which the crew provided. He says it was one of the primary objectives.
It's the first time a ship of this size has ever been deployed to the Caribbean, but has worked particularly well because especially when it comes to the training, for example, because you look at us and then you look at the 3 Barbados Coast Guard vessels that are parked just over the other side of the harbour, and we look very much the same. I mean, we are here to patrol, and we have what we in the Navy very grandly call a constabulary role. So we are basically like a police force. And because this ship is very similar to the Barbados Coast Guard, one of which is called the Banfield, then we've been able to get people on board and do quite a lot of good training.
Householders and businesses across 3 rural parishes have been told to brace for water outages tomorrow as the Barbados Water Authority continues work on its mains replacement program. This all forms part of Package C of its Capital Works program. In Package B of the mains replacement program along Bend Springs St. John to Catawash St. Joseph, there will be a partial shutdown on Saturday for 12 hours starting from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. Areas affected include Consett Bay and Foster Hall in St. John, Tent Bay and Bashaba in St. Joseph, and Belle Plaine to Baxter's in St. Andrew. Customers are asked to store adequate amounts of water before the shutdown, and road closures are also expected as work continues on the road along Carmichael to Constant in St. George. The Constant and Dash Valley roundabout to the Turnpike Junction will be closed tomorrow and Sunday between 7:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon, and detour signs will direct traffic away from the roadwork. And we will be back with regional and international stories in just a moment.